Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
The program is brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for games and concerts. Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. They've got it all. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Check us out at seatgiant.ca. The news release says the Saskatchewan Rattlers of the Canadian Elite Basketball League announced that Barry Rawlyk will return as general manager and vice president of basketball operations for his 7th season with the team. You boys can bring Barry in now. The Rattlers are working on assembling their roster ahead of 2025 CEBL free agency under Rawlyk's leadership while utilizing his connections in the basketball world. Does that sound about right, Barry? Congratulations on the new deal.
Well, thanks, Rod. It's a privilege to be with you. I always enjoy listening in on your show, and to be able to speak with you here is a real privilege.
Well, thank you. You always say the nicest things. And year 7 for you with the CEBL and the Rattlers, Barry. Before we look ahead, you want to look back at how that's gone? Has it been fast, long, or not?
2019 seems like just yesterday. From the start of the league and where the league has come since that point in time has been a pretty remarkable run in terms of the growth of the league. And, there's been a lot of twists and turns along the way, but, for the most part, the ascension of the league in terms of talent, in terms of the operation of the league has been just phenomenal, and really looking forward to 2025.
I can't wait to get to the games at SaskTel Center and as many as I can along the road. I guess where you started, what would you say that the league's hanging its hat on? Because you're going into year 7. I call ourselves startup cousins because we started in the same year. You guys started in 2019. This show started in 2019. You've now got players in the NBA. Would I be right in saying more than ever? Because you had players in the NBA a few years back, too. That's not new.
Well, I think just the perception of the league and the basketball world has tremendously changed. As you say, there's a number of players that have gone on to play at the NBA level, including Elijah Harkless, who was with us last season and now is with Utah Jazz. And so I think more and more players, whether that be at the NBA level or the G League level or players playing overseas, see the CEBL as a viable option, a viable part of the basketball world that can help them in their careers to ascend to the highest levels of play.
Yeah, so what flipped the switch then? Because I got to be honest, Barry, I knew all you guys from before. You didn't need to sell me on cred. What did you have to do to get cred in the world then?
Well, I think it's an awareness thing, a large part of it. People, when the league first started, it was certainly entertaining in terms of its value, but I don't think people quite understood the level of talent in the league. And since that point, every year, the talent level has exponentially grown. And, the fan base has come to realize now the high level of play that they're able to come out and watch on any given night. And so, that's really brought some real credit to the league. I think there's some strong ownership in place in the league now that has gone on to try and further enhance the quality of the product that we're putting forward. And I think the league's on a very, very good trajectory right now. Unlike some of the leagues that we see around the world right now, I think we're headed in a real positive direction.
Okay, well, I'm glad for the answer because I've had the good fortune of bumping into you along the way and having our chats about this, but to me, the league was always great. So I guess the key was sticking around, and as you say, getting the national television deals and bringing in the Chuck Swirsky's and the Rod Blacks and Amy and so forth. Yeah, I guess it was a credible thing. It was just sticking around. But the big question that I asked Lee Genier, your team president, just a few weeks ago, and I got to put it to you. We all know the elephant in the room. You recruit these big-name hotshots. You get off to your best start in franchise history in Saskatchewan, and then they bail. Wah, wah, wah. How do you fix that?
Well, it's not an event; it's a process. And so, in talking with a lot of the agents and the players themselves in terms of trying to sign them, particularly this year after the events, the way things transpired last year, I've been very careful in trying to vet what their career goals are for. And I know what their career goals are long term. They all want to make it to the league. That's what they want to do. But the process by which they want to get there, and whether they're prepared to, stay the season in order to, continue their development throughout the entire CEBL season. And, one of the things that we do is we're looking at structuring contracts in such a way that there's incentive for them to stay the full season as opposed to leaving when the summer league starts or whenever that may be. And, working with the salary cap, that's a little bit tricky to do that sometimes, but, we have to incentivize these guys to stay for a longer period of time. And so, that's one of the things we have to try and navigate, and that's what we're trying to do.
Well said. And it sounds like you and Lee are on the same page. You've put your heads together on this. Just so you know, the way he worded it was a little bit of recruiting differently. Would that sum it up? Kind of what you're talking about there?
Exactly. Lee and I, we've had detailed discussions about this, and what we need to do to be able to. I guess we could recruit down and bring in lesser talent that we know is going to stick around for the year. But really, at the end of the day, we're trying to put the best product we possibly can on the court for our fans. We want them to be watching the highest level of talent that we can possibly recruit. So rather than recruit down, we're going to recruit a little bit differently. And what that means is, as I've just previously described, that's what we're trying to do in order to get those types of players that we know are going to be high level players, but we're going to be able to retain them for the year.
Here's something that's new. Since you've been around since day one, if I wasn't at the games live, I was watching them here on Game Plus Television, and those arenas like in Langley and out east, Eastern Canada, Winnipeg, let's not even go there, packed, 13,000 in the Saddle Dome. That's a big difference, Barry, from year one. That had to be pretty cool to go into those arenas and be legit. Like it was a show. That's a big difference from year one.
Yeah, I mean, in my time in the basketball, I've obviously had opportunities to be in all sorts of NCAA Final Four type arena situations. I've been to a number of NBA venues, and some of the things that we're doing here now in the CEBL are just phenomenal in terms of the atmosphere that's being created there. And beyond the game experience itself is just it's just really phenomenal. And first-time fans who come to watch Rattler games, they come out of it and they're all saying like, "Wow, that was fun. That was awesome. What an event. I got to come back. That was really exciting." So yeah, it's what's been able to be created across the league is just really something that's really quite remarkable. And as I said, it's trending in the right direction. You see some other leagues that are having their struggles. But there's just something there with what the CEBL is doing as a total package. It's really become exciting.
Yeah, well, I can't stress enough. You didn't have to prove anything to me, but I guess not everybody knows you guys the way that I was. And since you talk about the other leagues, how much you follow in the NBA, Barry? Specifically here in Miami, as Jimmy Butler returns to the lineup tonight against Orlando. Are you following that grease fire?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty extraordinary. I kind of understand the world of the NBA and some of the personalities that are involved there. And, when you see some of those situations playing out, I guess, on the one hand, it's a little bit unsettling to see some of those things happen with franchises. But on the other hand, I think it certainly puts some eyeballs on the teams in the NBA. So I think the NBA, is not necessarily all averse to that. Some of that coverage, whether it not be the best.
Well, I guess, you're nowhere near the age of Pat Riley, but he's the guy taking the lead on the discipline of this guy. And it's a special person that can relate to the new player. But it's Pat Riley that's handling this. He suspended him twice. And I guess it kind of all depends on perspective. You said negative publicity. Again, I live here. So all I hear is what a gong show this has been. And I looked up the record. They're in a playoff spot. It's not that bad. I'm just kind of sitting here going, do you think at all as the basketball executive you are as to how you would handle it? Or do you not know enough? Because we don't really know what Jimmy Butler did. So.
Yeah, well, I reserve judgment on all that because you never know the inside story on most of those things. But I would trust that Pat Riley, and I actually had the occasion to meet him once a number of years ago. An impressive man indeed. Full trust that he would have a grip on the situation, and I'm sure he's handling it in a way that's is appropriate for his organization.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's probably a little late now to book a CEBL strategic planning session down here in Miami if you guys ever came as a league, but it would be great to all go to a Heat game together and get together face to face. But I guess we can do it this summer in Saskatoon as well. Anything else, Barry, before we let you go?
Well, it's just it's just a really exciting time in the CEBL, and it's a real exciting time for the Rattlers franchise. I know that Lee Genier, our team president, and certainly our staff has been working hard to try and put together a package that's going to be entertaining for our fans this summer. We're really trying to promote our product, trying to get more people out to the games that who are up to this point have been missing out, really, to be quite honest with you. And as free agent signings begin to occur here, it's going to be a very interesting time for us, and we're trying to put together a team that's going to be both entertaining and really a positive force in the community.
I know you will, Barry. Anything else you need, let me know. Congratulations on the new deal, and we'll be seeing you this spring.
Again, I appreciate you having me on, Rod, and I just really enjoy your show and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Barry. Appreciate you. The general manager of the Saskatchewan Rattlers, Barry Rawlyk, back for Season 7 in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. And, they do a great job. It is one thing that I hear is people say, we didn't even know about the league. And it's going into Season 7. So I guess that needs to change. But being here on Game Plus with the games live doesn't hurt. We'll be right back and turn it over to you the rest of the way with sports update and viewer takeover with everything else that we didn't get to today. And we'll rehash what we did. Live on Game Plus, live streaming, and podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.